not bury the lead here. What are we here for? What is it that maybe you've coming to our show other than to hear what events we have coming up? It's to talk about the tips. I know people are coming for the tips. So we have 3 tips for remembering your story on stage. Again, these are, you may have your own way. If you have your own way for remembering the story on stage, put it in the comments. I would love to hear it because I'm always looking for new ways to be able to remember the stories. But these are 3 ways that have helped me. Number 3, I call it create breadcrumb notes. Breadcrumbs, basically, when I do the story, is I do bullet points like first this happened, second this happened, third this happened, fourth this happened, so on and so forth. Because creating these kind of breadcrumbs for me helps me really remember sort of where we're at, and sometimes remembering the emotion of the scene really helps. Like last night's story I started off by remembering that I was a happy kid on search of Ghost, and then from Ghost I moved on to being disappointed that I didn't find Ghost, and then moving on to the possibility of maybe I found Ghost. You know what I mean? Like we're kind of hitting that higher up, and then when I did find the Ghost, I realized it wasn't what I thought it was, and now we got to come back down from that. Well, if you did discover what you wanted, what do you do afterwards, and how do you react to it? And if it is, so it was these kind of emotional roller coasters that really helped me get to these places. So when you're writing a story, leave little breadcrumbs. um Number 2, practice it in a way that creates muscle memory. Sometimes this is personal, but I like to repeat my story while I'm doing chores. Kind of like, I start cleaning the toilet, or I'll get in the tub and start cleaning the tub or whatever, and I'll just start reciting my story just to kind of like talk to myself as I do something else. Because sometimes while you might be on stage, unpredictable things may happen, so you want to be able to tell your story if like a glass drops or something like that. That's also a comedian in me, that I want to like almost practice like I'm in an obstacle course, like ha, 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 my story. So try to practice it in a way that creates muscle memory, so you can go through it a few times, even under stress, maybe while you're running, and just go over your story, so you can even build up your your stamina for talking for a long time in that way. So these are just little ways that I found that are helpful. And like, again, if you have any ways that are helpful for you, leave those in the comments. I'm gonna go to over here to our Instagram. If you guys see me losing it, I just want to see if anybody on Instagram have left any comments or anything. I'm also using StreamYard, so StreamYard can also only show us a few comments. So I wanted to make sure that everybody gets everything. All right, and our number 1 tip, my number 1 tip for remembering your story on stage is, remember that we have our Story Slam online dating on November 12th at 7:30 p.m. at World Cafe Live. You can get your tickets at firstpersonarts.org/events. That was my little ad in between the last one. And number 1 is write it in a way that is memorable to you. This tip was given to me by Dixie De La Tour during our last Story Slam. And Dixie did a amazing thing. I wish I had a piece of paper and a pen right now. Where Dixie, actually, let me show you this. Hold on, I think I do this here. So you can't see it right now, but Dixie drew literally an arc, start, end, and then climax, right? So if you did it this way, like a little arc, if you can see that, that's the way Dixie did it. You put the start, the end, and the climax, and then you add in between all those things parts of your story that lead up to those points. And I honestly thought that was one of the best ways I saw it. I actually used it last night, because the story I wrote last night, I actually wrote it 20 minutes before I went on stage. I had the idea of a story, but I didn't have all the points. And plotting it out that way, I was able to put, okay, we're going to start with, living in the Dominican Republic. We're going to start with what the Dominican Republic is. Then we're going to go to what are the things that I enjoyed about ghost hunting. Then we're going to reach the point where I set up the points where by the time we hit the climax, 2 or 3 little breadcrumbs had been put in place, so the climax made sense, and then the falling action sort of wrapped up everything that happened in the starting action. So you do it that way, and you find beautiful ways to move your story along very quickly and actually get it together quickly. And then it's just the skill of actually performing it and getting it up on stage. So those are 3 tips on how to remember your story when you get up on stage. Please leave in the comments any other tips you may have, so I can add those to my repertoire of tips, and maybe we could expand this list to even more. But yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about this week. I appreciate everybody who came out to a story slam. Oh, look, I got a plus. Was that me? That was just me. I thought somebody was giving me a plus. Oh, somebody is giving me a plus. I don't know how this all works. You guys are seeing a person in real time learning how StreamYard and all this works. So I appreciate the likes that I'm getting. I thought that was just me. But yeah, that was our live for today. As always, we're every week at 11:30 a.m. And if you don't catch it live, we post these so you can check them later on through Reels, IG, Instagram, everything to keep up on all of the exciting things that we have coming up here at First Person Arts. Go to of course, our page, but also make sure you follow us on all social media channels to keep up on everything we're doing. Go to our page, firstpersonarts.org/events. Check out everything we're doing. And yeah, that's everything for today. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed these tips for today. And if you have any other tips yourself that you want to give us, leave them in the comments and we'll do it this way. You leave it in the comments. All right. You guys have a good rest of your day. See you next week. Adios. It's Latinx Heritage Month. Adios.